The Nikon Z9 has a stacked sensor. The Nikon Z8 has a stacked sensor. And even the Canon EOS R3 has a stacked sensor. But will the Canon EOS R5 Mark II get a stacked sensor? And what about the Canon EOS R1? Stick around after this short break for details on new Canon stacked sensors. But first, please do me a favor. Follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, but most importantly, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, really helps get this channel noticed, and keeps you up to date on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. Over the past couple of months, I've heard from many of you saying that you're not going to be buying the Canon EOS R5 Mark II unless, of course, it has a stacked sensor. And I've been saying that, well, I think it makes an awful lot of sense. The Nikon Z8 has a stacked sensor, the Z9 has a stacked sensor, and Canon's proven with the Canon EOS R3 that they can develop a stacked sensor. It looks like Canon heard you. Canon Rumor says, we've been told that Canon will be announcing 3 new camera bodies, all with different resolution stacked image sensors. We assume that this would be in the Canon EOS R1, the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, but the third one is unknown at this time. And Canon Rumors rates this as a CR2, which means that this rumor comes from a known source with a track record of giving correct information most of the time, not always, but most of the time. However, the information hasn't been validated by, well, many sources at this point, but this kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It kind of makes sense that the Canon EOS R5 Mark II would get a stacked sensor. After all, its competition, the closest competition, is the Nikon Z8, and it's got a stacked sensor, the same stacked sensor found in the Nikon Z9. And Canon has shown that they can develop stacked sensors, as in the Canon EOS R3. But this camera, well, when it was released, sold for $5,999, several $1,000s more than what the Canon EOS R5 Mark II is supposed to sell at, and we're predicting a price in US dollars the same as the current Canon EOS R5, so $38.99. And why do we predict this? Well, because the US dollar has been very, very strong. However, in the United Kingdom, in Europe, and other countries in the world, if your currency has lost against the US dollar, well, you can expect a bit of a price increase. So where is this information coming from? Well, according to Canon Rumors, it's coming from a leaked presentation, or a presentation that somebody had eyes on, and is saying that 3 cameras are getting a stacked sensor, all at different resolutions, but we just don't know what cameras those are. Obviously, the Canon EOS R1 is going to get one. Again, it makes sense for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II to get one, but what is that third camera? Well, Canon Rumors has talked in the past about a high megapixel version of the Canon EOS R5, so that's certainly possible that that could get it. But in terms of any other cameras, well, we don't have anything else on the books that's due to be coming out, at least from the rumor mill, over the next 12 months. I'm sure we've heard about an EOS RP successor, but you don't expect a stacked sensor in that. We've gotten the refresh of the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, and it didn't get a stacked sensor, so I'm not sure what that third one will be, but again, it could be that high megapixel version. But what about time frame? When are we going to get the Canon EOS R5 Mark II? What about the Canon EOS R1? Well, again, according to Canon Rumors, as things stand, there's no reliable timeline as to when to expect the next EOS R series camera, and nothing is pointing to any Q4 2023 announcement. This can obviously change, but for the moment, it looks like the first half of 2024 will be busy with new Canon camera bodies. And if you've been following this channel for a while here, I actually predicted that we could get an announcement of the Canon EOS R6 Mark II in Q4 of 2023, much like we got the announcement for the Canon EOS R6 Mark II in the first few days of November last year. So it's not completely without precedent that we couldn't get this camera announced. And why do I think Q4 this year? Well, the Canon EOS R1 is going to be announced next year. We know that, and most likely because the Paris Olympics start early, I think it's early July, we would expect these cameras to be shipping several months before that. So March, April, May at the very latest, with an announcement sometime happening as early as mid-January, but I would think probably sometime on the heels of CP Plus in Japan, which is usually sometime around mid-February. So why would Canon go ahead and put out the Canon EOS R1 and the R5 Mark II in the same time frame? It makes sense for Canon to announce the Canon EOS R5 Mark II prior to the R1 or after the R1. And as the R1 is going to be announced right around, well, let's assume it's going to be announced in the first quarter, Is Canon then going to announce the R5 Mark II around July, 4 years after the EOS R5 Mark I? It's certainly plausible, but I'm hoping, but I'm also predicting that it makes sense to come out before. And Canon Rumors has said in the past that the R5 Mark II will come out before the R1. It's really conjecture at this point, but I'm in desperate need of a second camera. I think Q4 of this year makes an awful lot of sense. However, there is one leading indicator that kind of points to that probably isn't going to happen. And that's the number of leaked specifications we got on the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. We have very few. The only thing we really have that's credible is that it's going to have a 60 megapixel sensor. And now, knowing that 3 cameras are going to get a stacked sensor, when you're dealing with a resolution of 60 megapixels with photo sites being a lot smaller, it certainly makes sense to have, at the very least, a BSI sensor. And knowing that we're getting 3 cameras with a stacked sensor, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that the Canon EOS R5 Mark II will have a 60 megapixel full frame stacked sensor. But that's it. We don't have any other credible information, any sources on specifications for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Sure, there's some that are talking about video specification. Actually, you know what? The Camera Insider did talk about the camera getting 8K 60 and a few other capabilities. But in terms of anything else or any validation since, we haven't received any. And that's the thing. If the R5 Mark II is going to be a rather big deal, then we would expect leaks to come out several months ahead of an announcement. And here we are in August, so we got September, October, November. We've only got about 3 months before a Q4 announcement. And, well, crickets chirping. We really don't have a whole lot in terms of leaked rumors for the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. So I hate to say it, but it seems to sound like it could get pushed further into the future, and that would mean 2024. But again, the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, we heard absolutely nothing until about a month before the announcement. So it's still possible. As soon as I hear anything else regarding the Canon EOS R6, Canon EOS R5 Mark II, the Canon EOS R1, I'm going to pump out a video and let you know. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news and rumors regarding the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, the R1, or what this stacked sensor might be capable of, then go ahead and subscribe, but make sure you also choose all notifications. And if you want to stay up to date on all the minor news and rumors, all those rumors that aren't quite, or news stories that aren't quite big enough to have their own separate video, then go ahead and follow me on Twitter. Well, it's now called X, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm always tweeting out information, including all the videos that I put out. Usually I'll tweet them out a few minutes after I publish them. So Twitter's the one source where you can get all the information from this channel, pricing information. You can get information on the latest news and rumors, as well as the videos that I put out. So all major and minor news. So here we are. It's Wednesday morning. I'm pretty excited. So we're starting to get information about the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. So if you were thinking, and you've already written this in the comments, wait a minute, Simon, we're already getting leaked information about the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. We got stuff from the Camera Insider. We got stuff from Canon Rumors. Now we're hearing about a stacked sensor. I think it's going to happen in Q4. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. John, Mark, I'm really curious to know. Anyhow, I've got other things to do, such as going back to bed. It is vacation for me here, and I plan on relaxing. Oh, one other thing too. If you do believe in supporting this channel, you want to help support this channel, and you purchase your gear from Adorama and B&H, please consider using my affiliate links, these guys right here, because depending on what you buy, I can get anywhere from 2 to 6% back, and that's really going to go help fund the Canon EOS R5 Mark II and the Canon EOS R1. I've already stated that I am buying these cameras. The only question is, what sort of lenses can I purchase with them? And depending on those affiliate links, and of course, ad review from YouTube, I'm really hoping we get some big announcements for lenses such as the 35mm f1.2, which I might bite for this channel because I'm looking at changing things up a little bit. So we'll just have to wait and see. But anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great week, and we'll see you again soon.